In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. How did we come up with the name? Well, it's because we are just two plus-size guys living in an extra medium world. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post.
And I'm Matt Amory, former lineman of WVU and state championship at Morgantown High.
We have on the show today a topic of... We've got like
Topic City, baby.
Yeah, we've got 100 topics.
We got 100. 100.
We've got the Mohawk Bowl in the books for another year. Morgantown High moves up to number one in Class Quad A.
Can I do it one more time? I didn't mean to interrupt, but
sure, go ahead.
Mohawk Bowl. All right, we're done for the season.
Mohawks. Mohicans win 21-0 against rival University High in the Mohawk Bowl. We've also got a surprise move in the Class Quad A state playoff rankings. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Also on the docket, we've got the WVU football team knocked off then number 22 Houston, behind 3 touchdowns from quarterback Scotty Fox Jr., who just may be in the beginning stages of coming into his own. What else do we have?
How about a possible state record may have been set by Preston quarterback Slayton Manko? The West Virginia men's soccer team shut out number 11 Marshall in the Mountain State Derby 3-0, and the Mountaineers are poised to shoot back up in the national rankings. And to top it all off, we also have the start of college basketball, baby. The WVU women get their season going following an 83-47 victory over Purdue Fort Wayne on Monday, and the WVU men begin the Coach Ross Hodge era by hosting Mount St. Mary's. And the Mountaineers versus the Mountaineers?
Yeah, that's it, right?
I bet the Mountaineers win.
Yeah, good luck to me for covering that game. So that's what we've got on the docket today. We're going to try to cram it all in there. We do have a full house today in studio. We've got Michael Griffith and Spencer Ripchick of the Dominion Post to talk all things sports. Matt, what do you say we just begin with an old-fashioned sponsor plug?
Hey, you got yourself a deal. Hey, the Extra Medium Podcast is proudly sponsored by the Erickson Alumni Center. Whether you're interested in hosting a corporate retreat, a baby shower, a beautiful wedding reception, we take pride in making every experience a memorable one.
And Matt, where can you find the Extra Medium Sports Podcast?
I'm glad you asked, my friend. You can always find a link to the Extra Medium Podcast at www.dominionpost.com or find us on social media at Spotify and YouTube.
It's now time to check in with our college football insider, Spencer Ripchick. As we said, the Mountaineers are coming off a huge weekend. They beat the Houston Cougars 45-36. Scotty Fox Jr. had 2 touchdowns rushing and 1 passing. WVU is set to host Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes.
Coach Prime coming to Morgantown,
on Saturday. That is a noon kickoff and can be found on TNT. But first, Spencer expanded his horizons a little bit last week.
Do tell.
Yeah, well, we sent Spence out to the Mountain State Derby, which, of course, around here everyone knows as the WVU Marshall men's soccer rivalry. Spencer took that in. Took down the Mountaineers, took down the Thundering Herd 3-0 inside Dick Della Stadium. Spencer, tell us about how you're a big soccer guy now.
Yeah, I mean, my first WVU soccer game for both men's and women's. So far covering the team, I'm 1-0.
Let's go.
So that's good. I mean, yeah, it was a big win for West Virginia. They kind of, at the start, kind of looked like Marshall was kind of pressing, and then West Virginia kind of just took it from there and just dominated the entire game. Marcus Caldera had 2 goals, and Dante Huckabee, I think is his last name, Morgantown kid, he got a goal, first goal of his career after
That's
4
awesome.
years, and on senior night too, it's for him, which is awesome. And it was just overall, it was a fun game. I mean, it was outside, it was kind of cold, but the crowd was there. I was sitting next to Tiger King the entire time, a guy dressed up on Halloween.
That's all.
That's Joe Exotic.
I was like, wait, is he what?
He had an inflatable tiger, so I mean, that was interesting. It was actually one of the players' dads, actually, too.
Got you.
So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I think it was a fun experience.
I was just going to ask, what was the atmosphere like out there?
I mean, it was a pretty good crowd. It wasn't. People were saying that sometimes they've had it wrapped around. It wasn't wrapped around, which is not not surprising since it was Halloween and everyone was out trick-or-treating. But, yeah, I mean, it was all the stands were packed. I don't know the attendance off the top of my head. They didn't give it to me, but it was definitely all the seats were filled. There was people standing up by the press box area too. So it was a good atmosphere, I'd say, for a Halloween night game.
A good first soccer match then.
Yeah, definitely. It was 3-0. It was pretty easy to write too.
Right.
West Virginia kind of dominated from start to finish. It was definitely a physical game too, which is kind of cool just to see the rivalry in hands. I mean, it's kind of funny because most of the players on the team are not from West Virginia or from overseas, and they get very aggressive about a West Virginia Marshall rivalry game, which is kind of funny.
When they're here, they're part of it, man.
Yeah,
Even when you leave, you're always a part of it.
They get right bought in.
You know, Matt, all the things we listed at the top of the show we're going to talk about today, we completely forgot about. It was Halloween last week. Did you dress up as Halloween?
You know, some lady said, "Oh my gosh, you're so scary. What is going on with this costume?" He said at work. I was like, "Man, this is no costume. This is not a mask.
This is just me,
This
right?
is me."
Yeah.
And that reminded me, but that meant there's going to be leftover Halloween candy. Leave those Twix and Kit Kats away from me.
WVU enters next week as a 6.5-point favorite against Colorado, which is 3-6, 1-5 in the Big 12. Spence, I believe that is the largest they've been favored all year, isn't it?
I think so. I think the only other time might have been Robert Morris at the start of the season.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I don't
right.
even know if you could get odds on that game because it was a lower team and it was so lopsided, but I think that was when they were favored. But yeah, this is the first time they're favored in any game in the Big 12, which is kind of makes sense. I mean, Colorado has let up 105 points in their last two outings, and they have been going in the opposite direction of West Virginia has been going in the upward direction. And West Virginia just knocked off number 22 Houston, in which, they had one of the best rushing defenses in the country, and West Virginia put up 260 yards on them, which is pretty impressive. So, yeah, this is a good spot for West Virginia to get Colorado at a pretty good time.
All right, so obviously, Matt, here's the question I want to ask. So Colorado, obviously, when you talk about the Buffaloes, you talk about Deion Sanders. You know, you talk about what his kid did at quarterback the last couple of years. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman, goes on and becomes a high draft pick in the NFL, and he's doing his thing in Jacksonville. There was obviously a lot of hype and hoopla around Deion.
Around Coach Prime, yeah.
Spence, is that dying off? Is Deion sort of wearing out his welcome, I guess, so to speak, in college football?
Yeah, well, I was kind of talking to a Colorado beat reporter yesterday, and he was kind of saying, he kind of made it seem like either this year or the following year would probably be his last year of coaching, just because of how his son's gone and he's kind of lost. The locker room is going out of hands. They've lost the past two games. Their defense can't figure it out, and he also has a bunch of health issues too. So might need to take a step away from college football at the least. But yeah, I just think losing Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, who played on both sides of the ball, really hurt them, and they had a quarterback problem. The Liberty, Caden Salters, wasn't as good as they thought he was going to be, and now they have to go to the true freshman, who should be pretty good. But yeah, I think, and they're in a tough. The Big 12 is not an easy conference, especially with all the teams that are mediocre and they beat each other up, and it's just a hard place to recruit. The only, recruiting factor you have in Colorado is that Deion Sanders is there. He has nothing really else.
The thing with Coach Prime, I think he's always going to have a red X on his chest in a sense from it's not going to get old. As a player, I'm more of an old school player. I remember Deion. I remember prime time, baby. That doesn't get old. You want to show up and show out. But I'm excited to see, if Salter doesn't play, they got this kid Julian Juju Lewis, who evidently is a methodical. He's a 5-star guy, so that should be exciting. But as far as the not performing in front of Coach Prime, has he wore out his welcome? Has the dust settled? I don't think so. Heck, they even got Warren Sapp on the sidelines. Now, I'm old school. I remember Warren Sapp playing for the U against us back in the day. And another thing this day and age, you want to show up and show out for everybody. It doesn't matter who you're playing because that could mean a bigger check.
Deion seemed if you go back a couple of years ago, they had game day in Colorado and Boulder, and he obviously seemed like at the time on top of the world. He was going to start bringing in all these big-time recruits and big-time transfers, and he thought, or at least in my opinion, I think that he thought it was going to be a lot easier
Yes.
than what it turned out to be.
Just the consistency of college football. It seems like there's so much out of your control, but it's like you say in the NFL, is it a players' league if you don't have the players? But they seem to be getting the recruits, but rebuilding every year, getting the money you need every year, it's not an easy thing. In college football, heck, even since he started, rules have changed.
Spence, we've got the battle of possibly the two true freshman quarterbacks on Saturday. Is that correct, or what do you think there?
Yeah, I think Scotty's earned himself definitely the ability to start on Saturday. I mean, the only way he wouldn't start is they start Cleo Wilkins over him, which I don't think is going to happen because, I mean, Cleo's missed the past 2 games with an injury. So, and Scotty looked good. Good in the last 2 games. I mean, he threw a ton in the TCU game because TCU was completely shutting down the run, and it was the complete opposite against Houston, where West Virginia just ran the ball down Houston, and Scotty helped out in the run game too, and he didn't put the ball in harm's way, which Connor Wegman, the Houston quarterback, did a bunch of times, which really cost them the game. So, yes, I mean, Scotty's hasn't done – I mean, he didn't look like insane throwing the ball, but he made some good throws. He made that nice throw down to the sideline to Cam Vaughn for the touchdown and down the middle of the seam to Rodney Gallagher in stride, which was really impressive. But, yeah, he just hasn't put the ball in harm's way, which is pretty impressive for a true freshman quarterback.
How about the read he made? I think it's, 4th and 4, right?
Yep.
At the 34. And I remember this play specifically because of the way Houston lined up. They had their 2 interior guys on the outside shoulders of West Virginia's guards. Their other 3, and if you want to call them linemen, were basically lining up on the edge to rush. There is no one in the middle of the field. I mean, the referee.
Yeah.
And no one. And according to what Spencer was talking about in his post-game articles, that was a read that Scotty Fox made, right?
Yeah.
They run the draw, bam, 34-yard touchdown.
Yeah, Scotty was it was an RPO, so he was either gonna throw the ball or take off and run, and he saw that both of his wide receivers were being covered out there wide, so he knew the open of the middle of the field would be open for him to take off, and it's part of like the Red Seas, and he just took off for the first down and into the touchdown.
Oh, there was no one there.
I mean, that was like he will go all the way. Chris Berman.
He could have walked in the last 15 yards probably. Now, West Virginia, in that set, they went empty. Now, they had kind of an H-back tight end kind of off to the left side of the line. 4 wide receivers spread out. So, I mean, to some degree, you could understand why, Houston is spread out trying to match up. But to not have a safety in the middle or, some kind of maybe spy or something in the middle, that kind of baffled me when I saw that play.
Too, another thing, I loved seeing the post game and Coach Rod, hey, where the heck has this been all the time? But it is so good for the team, and you start to buy in more with each win. And like, hey, this can work if we execute accordingly. And they executed accordingly to a Houston team ranked, 22nd at the time, and great win. I think this momentum is going to travel with the Mountaineers as they play Colorado here at Milan Pushkar Field. But
Dior Hubbard, 108 yards rushing and a touchdown. What I really liked after the game was Dior coming out and saying, hey, the media needs to give some credit to the offensive line. That offensive line of West Virginia has been bombarded with negativity pretty much since the beginning of the year. Best game of the year for the offensive line? Spence, can we go ahead and say that?
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was the most. I think against Robert Morris, maybe they had more rushing yards, but I mean that from getting pushed up front, especially against that defensive line of Houston, that's pretty impressive. To rush for like 240 yards or 260 yards, whatever it was. Yeah, I think it was really impressive. I mean, there's still some issues with. I mean, I don't know if they allowed a sack either. I don't think West Virginia allowed a sack, which was pretty impressive too. So yeah, all around it was a very very good effort and a good bounce back game. I mean, they played pretty decently against TCU. There were some problems, but it was definitely a bounce over the past 5 games. Definitely a big bounce back for the offensive line, who was being criticized quite a bit since it was just a bunch of transfers and random guys stuck together. But it's finally kind of coming together.
Spence, if West Virginia is able to beat Colorado on Saturday, it's obviously 2 in a row, 2 wins in the Big 12. Is it momentum? Is it something to build on, or is it fool's gold?
Yeah, well, I think Colorado will be very telling. I think this is definitely a winnable game with the trajectory of where Colorado is going. I mean, like I said, they let up 105 points in the past 2 games, which is insane. And this game's on the road for them, too, which they haven't fared too well on the road. I was talking with a beat writer yesterday, and he said they play a lot better at home, and that was the surprising thing was they got blown out by Arizona last Saturday at home, which is not something you see from a Deion Sanders squad. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at West Virginia's schedule, they have Colorado next week, and then the following week, which is a winnable game. Or they have Colorado this weekend, which is a winnable game, and the following week – they have Arizona State without Sam Leavitt, their starting quarterback.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a winnable game now if you look at it. And then you have Texas Tech at home. If you win those 2 games, Texas Tech at home is what decides you from going to a bowl game or not.
Now, think about that. You're talking bowl game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible now.
3 weeks ago, these guys were dead in the water.
Wrote them off.
Yeah. The turnaround, I don't know if I can really call it a turnaround right now. Your thoughts? I mean,
I think it's good, especially now. You have to win to get this, but it does build the camaraderie. It does build that, hey, we can go me versus the world mindset, and who knows what can happen. But if these guys still keep coming out and execute, remember, guys, it was a couple weeks ago. ESPN, that football index, whatever they had, they said no way WVU is not even winning another game the rest of the season. And now they're predicting, hey, WVU's favored here. Take the little wins, move it slowly but surely, get that locker room. And let me get this. Mr. Dior Hubbard giving a shout-out to the offensive lineman. Now, you get a shout-out from the boys, one of those good athletes. You want to block for them even more. You want to block harder. So it's a good thing. It's moving in the positive direction when it seemed like we were kind of dead to rights.
Did you ever get a shout-out back in the day?
I don't know. Probably not. Maybe shouted at.
The big game of the week in the Big 12, obviously, Spence. Number 8, BYU travels to number 9, Texas Tech. That is a noon game on ABC. It essentially tells us who the best team in the Big 12 is. It's kind of been the game that's been circled on the calendars, for about a month now. BYU undefeated in the league, undefeated overall, right? BYU.
Yep. They haven't lost the game.
Texas Tech, one loss was against Arizona State a couple weeks ago. At Texas Tech, your thoughts on this game? Just how big of a matchup is this for the Big 12?
Yeah, I think this is a big matchup in 2 facets. I think the first one is obviously going to be who is going to get that probably get the first seed in the Big 12 title game, which is important. But I also think it's really big for BYU because I feel like they're one of those teams. Or at least I was looking at this the other day. And look at how I look at like when I do my AP poll and stuff that. They're one of those teams that has been winning a lot of games, but, I mean, the competition they've played hasn't been the best. Their best win is against Utah. So if they lose that game, and if it's like a lopsided victory for Texas Tech, they could drop pretty significantly, at least in front of Utah, who is I forget where they're ranked, but they're ranked in probably the top 20, I think, or something like that. But they could fall. I mean, you could fall very far, and that could bounce out potentially 2 Big 12 teams getting in the college football playoff.
Yeah. Well, how far would BYU fall if they lost?
Well, that's or Texas Tech, you mean?
Or Texas Tech. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they could fall pretty far. I think they would still stay above Utah.
Because Texas Tech's best win is also against Utah.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think this is if this game was on the schedule, I think it would be better for the Big 12 because then these 2 teams could just roll out like how Indiana and Ohio State will probably have it happen. They're just they don't play each other. They're just gonna roll right into the Big 10 championship game. But yeah, I think this is a very crucial game, and I think it's make or break for either of these teams going forward.
Who does the Big 12 want to win that game? If you're Brett Yormark, who are you rooting for?
I think you're probably rooting for Texas Tech, because if Texas Tech beats BYU, then they can play each other again in the Big 12 title game, and then maybe BYU would beat Texas Tech, or Texas Tech would beat BYU or something like that. And then you could say BYU's only 2 losses are to Texas Tech twice, who's won the Big 12. So I don't know. It depends on – I mean, the College Football Playoff Committee comes out with their initial rankings tonight, so that'll be very telling of what the future holds for the Big 12 teams.
Spence calling for some drama.
I love it, man. The drama of the Big 12, baby. Let's go with the miscellaneous here. I think BYU, hot take alert. I think BYU wins this game because Texas Tech's not allowed to throw out the tortillas anymore, man. Yeah. It's the miscellaneous that'll get you.
All right, Spence, hey, we appreciate the time. Thank you for the knowledge, and we'll see you next week when it's WVU Dion. We get the results.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me once again. Well, it should be an interesting game on Saturday.
Matt, what do you say we hit him up with another sponsor plug?
Hey, sounds good. A big shout out to our sponsor, the Erickson Alumni Center. Provide your guests with an elegant experience utilizing our state-of-the-art conference technology and catering from our in-house executive chef.
It is now time to bring in Michael Griffith.
The legend.
Michael, Morgantown High won the Mohawk Bowl 21-0. Let's begin right there. Turns out that Morgantown High's defense might be a little bit better than advertised.
Yeah, I mean, they just completely shut down the Hawks. I think University only had 149 yards of total offense.
Wow.
Came in averaging just below 400 and 42 points a game. So, second shutout by Morgantown High this year. The first one was another 21-0 game against Spring Mills. So that's 2 shutouts against 2 top 8 teams right now. The Mohegans look like they're in postseason form on defense, man. It's fun to watch.
Question for you: to shut out a team, like, was it the secondary? Was it the line causing, like, getting pressure on the quarterback? Like, how were they able to shut down that team? Because, I mean, UHS can move the ball vertically. I mean, we've seen that. But, like, how was Morgantown able to do that from your standpoint?
I mean, Marcus Kaniska had, 60 yards on 10 carries, which isn't horrible.
No, not at all.
That's 6 yards a carry. But the Morgantown defense just it was the passing. They shut down the UHS passing attack, which is where they really hurt people. They have a 1,000-yard receiver. They have 2 almost 500 yards receivers, and Morgantown just no-fly zone, man.
No-fly zone, baby. I love it.
And the biggest thing was, yes, their secondary was covering very well, but, man, the pressure that they put on the quarterback, Harrison Helbig, in the backfield made a huge difference in this game. Even in the rushing attack, obviously I just pointed out Kaniska having a decent game, for 10 rushing 60, but they didn't have a breakout run. They didn't have a big chunk play. It was just a really sound game played by Morgantown's defense.
The no-fly zone.
I love the no-fly zone, man.
Wow, not bad at all. Morgantown High will move up to number 1 in the state rankings. There's obviously one more week coming up. Morgantown High hosts, right? Musselman?
Yes.
Final week of the season.
The Appleman.
If Morgantown High wins that game, the Mohegans will remain number 1 in the state heading into the state playoffs. We have a huge jumper, though, in Class Quad A, and there is a great little story emerging over in the Eastern Panhandle. I know we have so much other stuff we want to get into, but I want to talk about Jefferson High School real quick, Matt.
Let's hear it, man.
Well, Jefferson High School is 5-4.
Okay.
And when last week, if you remember, when we were kind of projecting what was going to happen in the rankings after the Mohawk Bowl, if University High were to lose, which they did, we thought they were going to fall to 5. And it would kind of be them and GW in that 4 or 5 spot. University High falls to 6. The reason the Hawks are at number 6 is because big school out in the Eastern Panhandle, the Jefferson Cougars, coached by Mr. Craig Hunter. Matt, they've got a story to tell.
Let's hear. Like, what's the story about?
They started the year 0-4, right? They scored a total of 13 points over the course of those first 4 games. They have since won 5 in a row, and those 5 wins, 3 of them have come against major bonus points teams. They beat George Washington, they beat Loudoun County, Virginia, and last week they beat John Champ, Virginia, which is a suburb out in Washington, D.C., Class 9 through 12, their enrollment is just under 1,800
Those
kids.
boys can play some ball, too,
so
man.
it is a really, really big school that Jefferson beat from Virginia last Friday. I didn't think Jefferson was going to win that game, so that was why I thought University High would stay at 5. But what they've done, though, they've won 5 in a row. Their record is 5-4 out of the if you look at that University High, Jefferson, and George Washington, you look at the records and you're like, well, Jefferson doesn't belong.
Right.
But they really do belong, and it's really a testament to the SSAC's scheduled playoff points, the way they come up with the points. It's not so much what your obviously it's what your record is, but it's also who you beat.
Yeah.
The points that you gather. And I think when you look at Jefferson's record, compare them to the other schools ranked around them, you say, okay, well, they don't belong. They do belong, and I think it's basically because it's a very fair system set up by the West Virginia SSAC in the way they do their playoffs.
Yeah.
Michael, I mean, you probably didn't see Jefferson jumping up there at 4, right?
No, not this far. I think the first time we might have recorded this podcast, we said that they were pretty good for 1 or 2 wins each season that we didn't expect them to get, right?
Yes,
and here they are.
Yeah,
doing it 5 weeks in a row almost. So the Jefferson Cougars are no joke, and I mean, the EPAC teams, it doesn't matter what school it is out there at the EPAC, they all compete. I mean, every single week it seems like, they all beat up on each other and they all get better from doing it. So, and then they go out all over the state and show their talent. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want to play Jefferson.
You don't want to play Jefferson, riding the momentum, and to beat one of those DC schools. These DC schools always have athletes. I mean, incredible speed. When you play a school like that, too, it kind of slows down the game for the next week, and you're trending the right way come playoffs.
So here's what's got to happen here. So Jefferson ends the season this Friday. They have their rivalry game this week with Washington High School. For those who don't know, Jefferson used to be this huge, enormous school. The enrollment continued to grow. A number of years ago, they split or deconsolidated, whatever the word is. They split some of Jefferson's enrollment and formed Washington High School. So that's who Jefferson plays this week. If Jefferson defeats Washington, sounds like we're talking about colonial.
Yeah. Social studies class.
Yeah. If Jefferson beats Washington, they would remain the number 4 ranked team in the state. GW might have. Well, actually, no. GW has a big game against Woodrow Wilson, right?
Yes.
GW could pass Jefferson. University High obviously is out of games. They're basically looking for bonus points.
Yeah.
But if Jefferson were to win, Jefferson would stay ranked ahead of West Virginia. GW could move up to number 4, but University High would stay at number 6. The only way they can move up to number 5 is if Jefferson wins, or if if Jefferson loses or GW loses.
Yeah, and Jefferson probably is highly favored in that game against Washington. Washington's a little down this year. And like you said, GW has a tough game against Woodrow Wilson. And the thing about that is Woodrow Wilson is number 9, I think, right now in the playoff ratings. So that means they're going to be fighting to get a home game, right?
Yes.
They're going to want to win this game. This is a win, and you get a home game in the first round, which is huge because when you're at that 8 and 9 seed, you're playing the other 8 or 9 seed.
Yes.
So that's basically a toss-up. They're going to be playing one of, Wheeling Park or Spring Mills, one of those teams. You don't want to travel. That's a 4-hour trip either way. So Woodrow's going to want to win that game against GW, so it's going to be a huge matchup.
Playoff implications this late in the season, wonderful for West Virginia football.
Well, we have a ton of them in Class Single A. Let me tell you what's going on here, Matt.
Let me hear it, man.
So Clay Battelle defeated Oak Glen, which was ranked number 13 at the time in Class AA.
CBs, baby.
Man.
The CBs won 16-8 in a game that they probably shouldn't have won. Let me tell you what happened here.
Let me know.
So, Oak Glen, bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
They've got more depth. They have a stud at running back. Young man's name is Logan Murray. And let me tell you about Logan. Excuse me. 6'2", legitimate, 185 pounds.
That's a big boy.
Yeah.
When you think of these bigger guys in the backfield in West Virginia high school football, you kind of think of these straight ahead kind of guys. The holes here, so I'm going to hit here, and I'm going to try to run over.
You're thinking north-south.
Right.
North-south, not much.
You're not thinking
east-west.
instinctive running.
Absolutely.
Logan Murray has instincts. He is a quad A running back in a double A school.
So he's a big boy and elusive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm telling you, he would be your starting running back right now at Morgantown or University.
He could play it. Okay. Hey, enough said.
He was running all over the Clay Battelle defense to start that game. They're getting chunk plays, 14 yards, 15 yards, 9 yards. They get down close to the red zone, and Jackson Huggins, from Clay Battelle linebacker, comes up with this huge strip. Murray's got the ball going right up the middle of the field. Jackson kind of spins him around, takes the ball, and he takes off 48 yards the other way.
What?
So that was turnover number 1. Turnovers just killed Oak Glen. Oak Glen's second possession, driving the ball down the field. Once again, chunk plays. Murray takes off on a counter play, ends up on the left side of the field, gets to the 1 yard line. He's going to score a touchdown, gets to the 1 yard line, gets smacked, fumbles the football. Ball goes into the end zone and out of the end zone for a touchback for Clay Battelle. Oh. So that's
bend but don't break.
That's bend but don't break. The final yards in the game was I have it written down to 459 for Oak Glen, 293 for Clay Battelle. That kind of gives you the flow of the game. Braden Ponceroff also had a big interception in that game late in the first half to kind of stop another Oak Glen drive. The grit and determination of the CBs, the heart, played out. And, Michael, what does this do now? They are number 3 in the state, right, still?
Yeah, and they are pretty solidly in number 3 right now. Really favorable game at home against Magnolia this week, who's at the bottom of the list in single A right now. But, man, I think one thing that has been proven in the last few weeks, I mean, Clay Battelle obviously took a tough loss to Cameron the first week, but then they had a bunch of games that were blowouts, right? And then recently they've had games where they've had to scratch and claw. They won 16-14 when they had 5 turnovers, but then they won a game where they were able to keep the other team from coming back from turnovers. Like, Clay Battelle is showing that they can win in a lot of ways, and that's really important at this point in the season.
You're going to need that in that second and third round of playoffs. Even if
huge.
Anything can happen.
Especially at the fact that they might be at home for the first couple rounds. We've talked about it all season. These guys continue to get better, not only game by game, day by day, but it seems like quarter by quarter, this team and these players just get better, and that's a nod, to the coaching, to the players, to the community, just to the everything that's going on out there in Blacksville.
You know what the kids say? They're getting adjusty. They're getting adjusty out there. They're making the adjustments.
That's right. That's what football is, right? Making adjustments and adapting on the fly. And it seems like they just have a knack to do that.
And it sounds like this was your, what do you say? It is a game of inches type game. Yep. And to get battle tested, I'm telling you, back in my day, 100 years ago, I remember a game we played RCB. Knew they were a decent team, but anything can happen, and it does happen. Yeah. And these games where you're tested in the regular season will help you. Yeah. Shout out to the CBs, man.
And another thing, they're getting a lot, some more. Obviously, we talked about Braden Ponceroff as a wideout all season, but Cody Clovis the last couple games has made some incredible plays at wideout for them. Obviously, he had the 2 huge touchdown catches against Sherman. I think he had a big catch in this one too, maybe if not last week, one of the 2 games, but he's becoming another playmaker on the outside for Cohen to throw to, and that's going to be really big going forward as well, having another option to chuck the ball down the field.
Go ahead and double this guy. We got someone else for you right up our sleeves.
You might have 2 first-team single-A wide receivers on the outside.
Okay, so here is our projections. Matt, now this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
So we have Clay Battelle is going to be number 3 in the state this week. They are going to be 8-1 heading into the Magnolia game. Magnolia is 2-7, but they've won 2 in a row. Mm-hmm. So that's maybe a little interesting right there. Clay Battelle obviously be a heavy favorite to move to 9-1. If they do so, we are projecting they stay at number 3, but it's going to be close because number 4, Pendleton County, hosts number 6, Cameron. There is a lot of bonus points available there for the winner of that game. If it is Pendleton County, it basically becomes a battle of bonus points.
Right.
Like, I don't think they can catch Clay Battelle, but it's going to be really, really close. If Cameron were to beat Pendleton County, Cameron obviously moves up, but I don't think Cameron can catch Clay Battelle at this point. Some other games of note. Number 5, Sherman, moves up in class. They play Class AA Polka.
The Polka Dots?
The Dots. They play the Polka Dots. You get some and Polka is struggling this year, but you do get more bonus points for beating a Class AA school. Sherman can kind of edge their way back. Again, I don't think Sherman can catch Clay Battelle.
Yeah.
Clay Battelle's already beaten Sherman, but it becomes very interesting because it becomes basically a battle of 1 or 2 bonus points.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, at number 7 and number 8, you have Tug Valley. Oh, no, I'm sorry. At 8 and 9, you have St. Mary's and Wirt County. Both of them are 7 and 2. They play each other this week. Obviously, a lot of bonus points in that game. Now, the winner's not going to catch Clay Battelle, but the real interesting thing here, Michael, is so if Clay Battelle stays at number 3, the real interesting thing is, well, who is going to be number 6?
Right.
Because that would be who Clay Battelle would match up in the second round of the playoffs. And the answer to that could be Pendleton, could be Sherman, could be Cameron, could be Tug Valley. Tug Valley's got a huge game. They play Class AA James Monroe, who is ranked in AA. If Tug Valley were to somehow pull that game off, again, they wouldn't be able to catch Clay Battelle, but they would obviously move right up there, right behind them. If Tug Valley wins that game, then like I said, you got the St. Mary's, Wirt County, the winner of that game. Who's going to be number 6? And Clay Battelle's, in the instance of Clay Battelle, is that a good matchup for the CBs?
Yeah, we were talking about this. I think I was watching some NFL on Sunday and going through the math, and I texted Justin about this. I would not want to see Tug Valley at number 6. They have been up at the top of the rankings in Single A all year. They hold a 51-16 win over Sherman, who was number 5, who was number 3.
Yeah.
Tug Valley is a good football team who took a bad loss last week to Man, who is in the bottom half of Single A. It's not a good loss, but that's why they dropped down as far as they did. So, if I had to pick one team that I don't want it to be, it's definitely Sherman. Or I'm sorry, definitely Tug Valley, because they're a good football team. And that would be a really, really. I mean, that's a semifinal game in the second round, in my opinion, if it's Clay Battelle and Tug Valley. So,
I mean, we're popping off in Single A. Man. This is like
NCAA March Madness bracketology stuff right here. It's insane.
There was something special in the air. We all called it in week 1, like something special in the air. This is wonderful for West Virginia high school football.
You basically got about 6 different teams who can finish literally anywhere from 5 to 9.
Yeah,
I mean, it's and if Cameron somehow beats Pendleton County, that puts a huge shakeup.
Yeah.
In the rankings.
Yeah. It's coming down to the last week. It's going to come down to the last possession.
It might be the last possession, the last snap.
I mean, if you don't have your eyes on Single A football in West Virginia, you better get them on there because you're missing out.
And I don't care if it's quad A, triple A, double A, single A. Everybody's hurting at this point. This is just for the love of the game. Playoff implications. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's funny, like you say that last night. I was talking to someone who's not from the state, and I was talking about high school football, and I was showing them I think a video of Maddox Twig making his interception.
What a great
shout out to him for his really nice one-handed interception he made.
OBJ-esque.
And I was telling them, he's got some offers, D1 offers as quarterback, and they're like, wait a minute, these kids play both sides of the ball, and I'm like, welcome to West Virginia high school football, baby.
Homie. Man, those games are long too when you're playing both sides.
Oh man,
both sides of the ball. Jeez.
And these single A teams, it's nice for Clay Battelle because they're going to want to just be healthy, get through this game, get the W, and get home healthy, get into the playoffs. These other teams that are playing, these matchups in the top 8, in the top 10, those teams are going to have to grind. They're going to have to play. They're going to have to play hard physical games. Like, you don't want to do that right now. The last week of the season with the playoffs coming next week and stuff. Like, it's good that Clay Battelle's hopefully they can take care of business in the first half, third quarter. Rest some key people if they get a chance. So that's going to be another key thing this week.
If I am CB coach Aaron Lepeau, I'm going to do everything I can, obviously, to get that win Friday, and then what? I am scoreboard watching.
Scoreboard watching, seeing who the next ops are. Who's the next? Line them up.
Yeah.
Hey, line them up. Lepeau knocks them down.
Matt did back in the day. Was Coach McNew a big scoreboard watcher? Did he? They always had that chart, right, in the coach's locker room with all the W's.
Every time I try to go in the coach's locker room, they said, "Amory, get your butt out of here." But he's trying to start. Coach McNew would I know behind the scenes they would be scoreboard watching, but regardless of who we played, we were ready. We were even keeled. It didn't matter. Even in the playoffs where we could have potentially played University High to go to the state championship, or would have been in the state. Actually, it would have been in the state championship because it was University High versus Parkersburg. It was still. It doesn't matter whoever it is. Next man up. You line them up. We knock them down.
So that is your playoff scenarios heading into the final week of the season. We have a state record watch, right?
State record alert.
2 of them, actually.
Michael, it might be 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
The game that Slayton Manco had from Preston High's quarterback, just to kind of set this up, Matt, it was a Madden Bowl. 60 to 57.
Wait, are you sure
score.
you didn't get that confused with a basketball? 60 to 57, so that's no typo.
That's a football game.
Preston High traveled to Buchanan in that game. But the Buccaneers won 60 to 57. In that game, though, Slayton Manco had 43 completions. We'll get to that in just a second. 603 yards passing, 87 yards rushing. That's 690 total yards in one game. Michael, we haven't verified it yet, but we are working on it. It's very likely a state record, is it not?
Yeah, so the passing yard record was set earlier this year by Hunter. Sorry, I'm forgetting his last name. Rutan, I think is his last name. From Buffalo. He threw for 637 yards. We weren't 100% sure about his rushing yards in that game, but I did hear from my good friend Taylor Kennedy down in Charleston, who they dip into the Buffalo athletics a little bit. He said that that quarterback only had 1 rushing yard in the game, so that would be 638.
Probably a sneak.
Probably a sneak. The previous total offensive yard record was from 2006.
2006, Paul McCoy.
From Mate 1. We talked about that game earlier this season.
Yeah.
He ran for 658 yards, no passing, so his total offense, obviously 658. Slayton Manco went for 690. That is the record now. And then he also had 43 passing completions.
Which I'm going to get to real quick. The 43 ties a state record.
Yes.
Matt, do you want to talk about who he ties it with?
I'm going to have to go out on a limb and say J.R. House.
J.R. House.
Oh, you might have witnessed that, haven't you?
That's PTSD, man.
1998 Class AAA state title game. Nitro quarterback J.R. House passed for 594 yards in that game, I believe.
Get my therapist on the line. Get my therapist on the line.
10 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness, man.
Matt, where were you on that pass rush?
I was trying to get there, bro. We were rushing 3, and they had these linemen that were like 5'4", blocking me at my kneecaps. I couldn't get anywhere, man. I had this center and 2 guards on me. I still doesn't sound like I've healed from this.
We are assuming that Slayton Manco might tie that record now with 43 completions and one football game, and there is a receiving record.
Yes,
as well. Michael, tell us about that.
If Slayton throws for 603 yards, he's got to be thrown to somebody. And Aiden Schmidl, senior receiver, had 21 receptions and 417 receiving yards.
Now, where does that rank? The receptions, is that a record?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Receptions isn't a record, but obviously 21 is might be a season high for the state.
21 is not bad, right?
No.
Well, wait, where was the previous record from?
I'm assuming it probably had to be that Nitro
1999 Jeff Clark of Nitro. I mean, what is going? I'm throwing the pages.
You know,
and I even need those notes. I'm throwing the pages. You're bringing up all this stuff.
So
shout out to Preston. What's going on? 60 to 57. Are we not getting a defensive stop here? But,
that's kind of been Preston's issue all year. Has really been their defense, because I mean their offense has put up points pretty in some games and played well enough to win as an offense, you think. But yeah, I mean, banged up, I guess, missing some key players, stuff like that.
Legend, one thing, I don't mean to put you on the spot. We spoke about there's potential playoff implications with.
Hey, this is what happens when you're in Quad A in football, man. You can win 1 or 2 games and you're going to sneak into the playoffs. So Preston is going to host Elkins this week, who is a AAA team, but I think they might have 6 wins on the season. And if you do win the game, Preston should sneak into that 16th spot, the final spot in the Quad A playoffs. If they lose the game, then Buchanan Upshur, probably depending on their result, will also sneak into the 16th spot. So
if they sneak into 16th, then obviously you're talking about a matchup with Morgantown High in the first round. So you would get that Manco Twig.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
Right. We scored 140 on them.
Yeah.
If you're Slayton Manco here now, right? So obviously the season hasn't gone quite the way you obviously wanted. Michael, you had a chance to talk to him earlier in the year, and I'm very interested if you could kind of rekindle the story here a little bit.
Mhm.
He's obviously a very talented young man. Probably under the current transfer rules in the state being the way they are, he could have had some options. He obviously stayed in Kingwood, stayed at Preston High School. You got a chance to get to know him a little bit over the year. Kind of tell us the story about Slayton Manco and who he is.
He's just a guy that's rooted in his hometown and where he's from. I mean, and that's impressive to say. It's cool to say for a high school kid that it shows that much. I mean, that's how it is. He's from there. He was born there. He's raised there. And he's Preston through and through. I mean, he is Preston County if you really think about it. He's just such a down-to-earth kid. I mean, you talk to him and you would think that he's a senior in college already. He's got a good mind about him, good attitude, and he doesn't give up on his team. He doesn't give up on himself, and he probably would have traded 603 yards the other night for a win, I'm sure, but that's just the kind of kid he is, I mean, he doesn't seek the individual awards, but they come to him naturally because he does everything the right way, and
awesome.
He gets what he's supposed to get.
How cool, though, Matt? I mean, okay, sure. They have not had the kind of season they probably wanted. But how cool was it, though, to finish off? I mean, obviously they still have the one more game this Friday. But you got a chance to put your name in the record book, though. Regardless of the success of the team, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a nice thing, right?
I think that's awesome. I think the record book's awesome. But you know what the legend's saying about this kid, from what I've heard, he wants to get some more W's.
Yeah.
Maybe even a playoff W. And if you're out here setting state records and whatnot, you always got to be prepared because anything can happen, Friday Night Lights, anything can happen. But that's awesome. I love to see it. Not only good for the kid, but good for the area, good for the football team. And what's the Preston coach's name?
Mark Deep.
I think that guy's awesome. I love seeing his quotes. One day we got to get him on the show. But shout out to Preston and what they're doing. Great things happen for the Knights there.
So that is pretty much our playoff scenarios. Preston could project to finish in at 16 if they are able to beat Elkins. Morgantown High we have at number 1. Clay Battelle we think is going to stay at number 3. University High we think is going to stay at number 6. The state playoffs, Matt, right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Right around the corner, state playoffs. We're still having playoff implications. It's going to be wonderful. And just so I really can't stress this enough to our listeners, even the players who don't have playoff experience, anything can happen, and it will happen. The wheels can potentially fall off, and we talked about this Clay Battelle game of inches. They're finding ways to win. You're going to have to find a way to win. It doesn't matter who the ops are. Crazy things are going to happen. So we're seeing teams going in the right direction. I think this is wonderful for West Virginia football.
We appreciate the time. Michael Griffith was in the studio here with us. Lots to talk about with the high school football playoffs. Matt, today we are going to close. It's time to talk a little college basketball.
Oh, man, college basketball season, baby.
Now, I want to know, you love college basketball.
I love college basketball.
You're a football guy.
Yes.
What is the fascination with college basketball?
If you don't remember back in the day, now this is like, for West Virginia, I've loved West Virginia basketball since Coach Catlett. Gordon Malone out there. I can drop names.
Gordon Malone.
Nice. Gordon Malone,
nice.
man.
Okay, not bad. Not bad.
I got some names. But I really fell in love when I was in college and watching that Beeline's team with Pittsnoggle and help me out with some.
Joe Hairbear.
Patrick Beeline.
Mike Gansey.
Yeah. And it was so much fun watching I could just be total fanboy. I have no idea what's going on. And Pittsnoggle out there. I remember a game they were playing Texas, and the first game of the season, and I'd be, don't shoot, you're never gonna make. Boom, swish. I love it. It's a fast-paced game, and there's just something different about watching a game at the Coliseum.
Okay, here's what I need to know. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
Ross Hodge. Now we are recording on Tuesday. The Mountaineers actually play Mount St. Mary's open the season tonight, even though the podcast comes out on Thursday when the game would already be over by a couple of days. But here's the thing. Ross Hodge is beginning the third era, I guess you could say. Obviously, last year it was Darren DeVries. The year before that, it was Coach Josh Eilert, who was in as an interim for Coach Huggins. Now, so third new guy in 3 years. It's time. I mean, give me your thought here. I mean, you obviously don't want to put too much on the shoulders of Ross Hodge, but also as a general fan, don't you got to see something, right?
Well, as a fan, you got to see something, but as a fan, you're also scared. Is this guy going to stay? Is this guy going to go? But you got to put that to the side because we got guys out there like Honor Huff, man.
Honor Huff, 3-point shooter, a little small.
But he can shoot.
He can shoot.
Out. I think, you know what? We put it to the side. I love what Coach Hodge has to say. He wants to be in Morgantown for a while. I think he has to say that, but I don't know. I believe it this time. But as a fan, you're kind of like, I don't know what to expect. Do you even know what to expect? Who knows? Just so many different helm changes. But there's something that maybe I'm being too positive here. There's something. I feel like this is going to be a wonderful year. We're going to shock some people.
The media had a sit-down with Coach Hodge yesterday, and in that sit-down, Coach Hodge basically was sort of telling us kind of his story about the way he climbed the ladder. And, he started off as a junior college assistant coach, worked his way up to a junior college head coach, and then eventually into the Division I ranks as an assistant, and so on and so forth. The way he kind of described it was, you would think, when you're coaching at those, little rinky-dink junior college, the dream is to one day, I want to be the head coach at a Power 5 school. Yeah. I want to be a coach at Kentucky. Yeah. I want to be the coach at, whatever, Duke or Clemson or, whatever power, pick Michigan. Pick a school. That wasn't the way he approached it. The way he approached it was he wanted to make that junior college team the best it could be. He wanted to make those players the best they could be. And in turn, that success would lead him up the next rung of the ladder, so to speak. He didn't dream about climbing the ladder. He expected to climb the ladder through the results that he was producing at the current school where he was at. I thought it was kind of a fascinating take on the subject because obviously, the big dream is to make the big money at the big schools, and especially when you're at you're at those junior colleges where you're basically kind of making per diem and meal money, and
you're living check to check,
right? And so he got there kind of through a different approach than what maybe some other coaches have done in recent years.
Well, I hope he brings that, and I'm confident he will bring that to the Mountaineers. And do you think we got a good one here? I mean, you've seen a lot in college basketball. Other than what you just said, does anything else stick out to you about him or the program for this year? I
am going to say they have shooters. You mentioned Honor Huff. I'm going to say obviously Trayson Eaglestaff is a young man to keep an eye on. Now he's got a little more size. Eaglestaff has more size to him. They kind of list him as a guard. He's more of a small forward. He's a 6'6", and he can shoot as well. Him and Honor are going to be the shooters. Obviously, they have the big man down low in Harlan Obiaya. He's a big 7-footer who can make a difference. They've got pieces. Jasper Floyd is obviously the point guard who followed Coach Hodge from North Texas. They have pieces. The issue, and this is kind of where I go back to the beginning of football season, where we were wondering, okay, well, Coach Rich Rodriguez went out and had to get out all these new guys.
Yes.
And had to get, 70, 80 transfers out of the portal. How do you get that many guys on the same page in such a short amount of time? I think it's going to be kind of the same question for Coach Hodge. He brought in 4 new freshmen and 8 transfers. That's 12 new guys that you've got to get on the same page in a short amount of time.
Do you think that is an easier transition for basketball versus football, or it's got to be difficult?
Well, you would think it would be easier just because obviously the numbers are different.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's. I think that the task is the same. I mean, obviously, it's obviously harder to get 80 guys on the same page as opposed to 12. But I think the issue is still the same. That it's a big obstacle to overcome.
I hope this team, it sounds like from what you're saying, can this team compete in the Big 12 with that grind? I mean, there's some great teams. Can it compete day in and day out?
That'll be the question, and I'm glad you're going to. I didn't know you were such a huge basketball fan.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it.
So you're going to kind of go through this journey with me.
I hope so, unless you can me, man.
Hey, everyone, thank you so much. That is all the time we have for today. We covered literally dozens of topics today. Matt, take us home.
Thank you for tuning into the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, and a special thanks to the Erickson Alumni Center for supporting the show. Select a wedding venue where you can host the perfect ceremony and reception while providing your guests with a caring and comfortable environment. Hey, lastly, this is the Extra Medium Sports Podcast where the couches are safe but the takes are on fire. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see y'all next week.